Can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast. So I actually think it's a good habit to earlier on in your life desensitize a bit from, yes, work is a big part of what we do, but it's not who I am. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. My name is Emma. I'm a radio journalist who's teamed up with my sister to give you advice, inspiration, and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're excited to give you all the tips, tricks, and behind-the-scenes knowledge to help you in your career.
Hey Em, and welcome back, Interview Bossees. Who are we giving a big fat shoot your shot shout out to this week? It's someone that coined the term Interview Bossee, I just saw.
Yes. Caroline bought us 5 coffees and while she was at it, made us cry. So buckle in, buckle up. It's a bit of a long one.
Buckle in. Why does that sound weird?
Yeah, I don't know.
Buckle in, buckle up.
Buckle up. And I also love, I'm going to skip to the end of her message. She was like, I get this is too long for your website, but fine to sing out on the potty if you need to fill in some minutes. I'm like, not Caroline being our producer. She's like, this will be great content. I love it, Caroline. You're promoted. All right, she said, hey, Sarah and Em, I'm a long-time Interview Bossee. I, like many others, stumbled upon the podcast when looking for career and interview support. I couldn't believe my luck when these 2 lovely Aussies came to my rescue and provided the exact support I needed. I shared your insights with friends when they needed help. He even helped my bestie get a $40,000 pay bump with a new role. Thank you, salary negotiation ep. Where to start? I had loads of experience across my career, but had some career gaps due to moving country, having kids, and changing industries. I felt this held me back, and as a working parent, as much as it pains me to say this, I started to feel lucky to land a job. Therefore, started applying for roles I was overqualified for. And yes, interview and making final stages before being told, wait for it, you're overqualified. I was applying constantly, but for the wrong reasons. I was feeling desperate to return to work and feel relevant again. But the more I applied, the more silence and the more rejection was hitting hard.
Oh.
After years and years of professional work in some of the most enviable roles, I couldn't believe where I was. I'd never felt so low. I still had 3 kids keeping me busy, but I pushed on and on. Eventually, I thought I'd found it, a part-time role, and it seemed really interesting. Despite my gut telling me something wasn't right in the interview, I ignored the flags. Caroline took the job and thought, just get in and it'll work out. Well, within my first week, those red flags were clearly evident and I gave notice within a month. Of course, not without listening to your episode on resigning. The support and confidence you gave me to make the right call was so valuable. I shudder at the thought if I had have stayed in the role for optics or for my CV. It was all kinds of wrong. I love that. We always give people permission to leave if it's toxic and awful. Like, we don't encourage you willy-nilly to quit, but I love when people feel relieved that we're like, you don't have to stay just to get to the tokenistic 6 months mark on your resume. Like, if you are hating your life, leave.
Yeah.
So back to the drawing board again. I was fortunate to land a bunch of interviews shortly afterward, and I think that was due to a session with Sarah and flipping my CV on its head, although it was written by a professional CV guy, so please save yourself some bucks and check out Sarah's CV template. I was the best Interview Boss student during this interview window. My best bits were sharp, my about me was spot on. Through daily listening to Interview Boss, I built back up my confidence and backed myself all the way, but still, no cigar. 2 went in a different direction and 2 lowballed me at the offer stage despite me being upfront on salary. Your episodes about salary negotiations and researching industry salary expectations were so useful, but being in such a vulnerable state, I was almost ready to settle for that lowball amount. But I had your voices in the back of my mind, reminding myself of my value and held firm. By this point, I felt like I'd hit rock bottom. A new school year rolled around, which came with its parental responsibilities, so I ended up taking a school hours role for some absolutely lovely people, but it was far from what I was seeking from in a career. However, at the time, I just needed a break from the corporate job hunt and the ability to pick my kids up from school. I continued to listen to Interview Boss almost every day as I knew the right thing had to be coming along and I wanted to be so prepared. Well, it did. 5 months later, a role was advertised for a company that I'd been following for some time. I really liked the work they did and through networks, heard the hiring manager was a fantastic leader. I jumped on it immediately and followed all your CV and cover letter steps, with particular tailoring to the role. Less than 2 weeks later, their HR team reached out to schedule a screening interview. I was very familiar with these, but prepared like a boss and treated it with the respect that any interview deserves. The interview couldn't have gone better, and I was fast-tracked to a second interview. I was so confident from all your advice going into it, particularly regarding the tell me about yourself being your only opportunity to really have the floor. That was invaluable. I scripted up the perfect concoction of career history, moving country, having kids, and other touch points because they made my CV and its gaps on paper sing and give so much more context. The manager was floored and so grateful for me sharing so much, and I think it may have revised some of the interview questions. As in, they suddenly had all the answers that they were wanting. They really didn't need to ask them. It really allowed me to take control of the tone of the rest of the interview, which I felt like I nailed. Next came some psychometric testing. Yes, I listened to that episode too. There's no fooling the system. And then I smashed a third interview. I was ready to receive an offer. At this point, I had covered everything I could think of: role terms, flexibility, cultural fit, growth and development. So I waited. Very excited, but also knowing I couldn't have possibly done anything more or better. As Sarah says, if you don't have an offer, you don't have a job. So I didn't get ahead of myself despite feeling very confident. Here's another segue. Another episode I'll shout out is the flow-on benefits of doing amazing in your interview. Because a few days later when the company called and what I thought was with the offer, they were so impressed that they offered me an even better role with a higher salary to match. I couldn't believe it. All credit to the Interview Boss resources and support, but this episode pushed me to do even better than just good enough. I'm now a few weeks into my new role and am so happy. All the rumours were true. The culture is as excellent as it was sold, and there's so much opportunity for learning and growth. I can finally look forward to longevity in my new career. I also listened to the episode about nailing your first 3 months in your new role. Guess who's filling up water bottles and making teas? So simple, but great reminders on how to be a good newbie. I can't thank you both enough. Your advice and support has been incredible. And then there was the little mention, I get this is too long for the website, but feel free to talk about it on the pod.
Oh,
Caroline, my eyes are watering.
I just am so in love with this. And I did a session with Caroline. We talked about her CV. It was a little while ago now, but how incredible. I just can't even, it's like she has a PhD in Interview Boss at this point. Every episode was yep, listen to that, use that, got something out of that.
Did that.
My friend used the salary negotiation. And I think my favorite though, because it's still new and we haven't really heard people talk about this. And at the time, I think I even said in the episode, I wasn't sure whether this was really going to land with people, the benefits of doing really well in your interview. I cannot tell you how real that is. And it's so, so cool to hear that actually changed how much she prepped and didn't want to just be good enough, wanted to be incredible, and then got offered a job that she didn't even know existed that was more senior than the one that she went for. That is incredible. You want to talk about the hidden job market, the scare tactic that all the TikTok people talk about. That is how you do the hidden job market.
That's the hidden job market, hidden for the people that smash it out of the park and get strings pulled for them.
Yes, yes.
I just love, how many parents are going to be listening to this, relating so hard. The start, the trenches, the low self-esteem, feeling like it's just impossible to do both. There's not going to ever be any flexibility and she just needs to suffer and take what she can get, that desire to be fulfilled again in the workplace. And I just want every parent listening to know something is out there for you.
Yes.
You can have all the things.
Yes. And what I really love about this, and one of the reasons, a little segue of our own, that we chose it for this episode is that it's not a straightforward story. It's not like does a session, listens to an episode, applies for a job, dream job, problem solved. This is like a long-term listener.
Yeah, it's messy. It's months and months.
And there's a whole other job in there of a job that was oh, look, this is just for now. At least
in the meantime, get me out of trouble job.
And they're lovely people, she said. There's good, lovely things about doing all of that stuff. And being able to weave that into your career history then, she's talking about making it sing. I love that. It's so incredible. That's exactly what it does. And I can really see that she gets it. Caroline gets it.
Caroline gets a gold star. I love you so much and I'm freaking proud of you.
I need stronger words than a gold star. It's a gold medal, actually. It's a gold medal in Interview Boss.
If Interview Boss was at the Olympics, you would get a gold medal.
She's graduated. And she might keep, I hope she listens to this and hears us read out her story. But she's graduated. She can go move on. Occasionally check in and see how we're doing, maybe follow us on Instagram, but forward it to friends and just enjoy this new world. It's incredible.
So good. And if you need a little bit of help like Caroline, you can book a one-on-one interview coaching session with Sarah. You can also check out the Interview Academy. All of our help that's available you can find on our website, interviewboss.com.au.
Yep. And go to /coaching and you can compare the two, see which one's right for you and turn around all of your interviews and do incredible in them instead of just good. Can you do good by yourself? Absolutely. Can you do great by yourself? Maybe, but you might need some help and we can help. That doesn't make sense. I'm so bad at plugging. I need to script myself. Anyway, our listeners get it. So if you liked one of our episodes, used a tip we sent you, slide into our DMs, let us know. We want to hear if you liked an episode or if you need something. It really helps us. And I love hearing from our listeners on all the mindset topics that have really been game changers for them. This is where this episode has come from because of all the feedback and the coffee shout outs and things where people talk about, oh, this episode about the mindset really changed the way. I had you in my ears saying, don't settle for less. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that that's something that we, that people take away from our eps. But it's advice, inspiration and support. And this is one of those mindset ones. It kind of falls into the inspiration and support.
Someone called us once interview fairy godmothers.
Oh, yes. We can be interview fairy godmothers.
Except we won't turn you into pumpkins at midnight. We'll be like the Fairly Odd Parents, where they do cool stuff for Timmy. That's us. We'll get you out of sticky situations.
Timmy is an average kid.
And no one understands. Mom and Dad and Vicky always giving him commands.
Ben twerp.
That's the best.
Okay.
Giant fries chocolate shake or whatever it says.
Large fries chocolate shake. Yeah.
Mousse something. Yeah. Great show.
You're going to make me want to sing the whole thing. We need to stop. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about decentering your job. What's that mean?
Emma does that when she doesn't know what it means. She asks me like it's a fun question. She's like, I don't know what this is, Sarah. I don't know what we're talking about. So this is kind of like
Is this Take the Job Off the Pedestal's twin sister episode?
Kind of, but it's like not take the job that you're applying for off the pedestal, but it's like take the job that you're doing off the pedestal of like what you think it needs to be. So it's often just like Caroline, not actually a case of I'm going to apply for this thing, I'm going to listen to Interview Boss, I'm going to land my dream job. We have a lot of shout outs that are like that because sometimes it is simple, but sometimes it's a longer path. And hence why it's all a segue to link to Caroline's story. So if you're listening to this, I think probably we can make some assumptions about you as a listener. You probably care about your job and your career because, let's face it, you're listening to a podcast.
Yes, so true, you little nerd. What kind of person seeks out a podcast? No, I shouldn't shame them because that's the reason that we were just named as a finalist in the Australian Podcast Awards. And that's the reason I'm hopefully soon in the next few years going to be able to quit my job. So keep listening.
Yeah.
You're not nerds.
Yeah. No, they are little nerds. And we're a little nerd family over here of like wanting to do better at our careers and our jobs.
So cute nerds.
And so I think we can assume that about you, right? You do care. And maybe if you're like us, probably you care a bit too much, maybe. Yeah. And we've done some little rants about this before of like how exhausting it is to always care and always be striving and that pressure of success. But we can decenter our job. Just, we don't have to do it forever. Maybe it's just for now that we're decentering our job. And I want this to be something a bit reassuring if you are listening to this and you're feeling like you're at rock bottom or you're close or things aren't working out or you've had to take an in-between job and you're feeling like, okay, I've got to keep listening, I've got to keep applying, I've got to keep whatever. Well, maybe keep listening, but maybe you can take your foot off the gas for a little while. Maybe you can just settle into this boring job for now. Maybe you can take a school hours job for now, like Caroline. It's not like she'd given up on getting back in and feeling fulfilled again. It was just a temporary pause, a shuffle of priorities. Just for a while. She kept listening, she kept engaged, she kept learning stuff, I'm assuming. But just for now, we decentered our job. I think this might really resonate with people. Now, I've got like a list of little thoughts here that I thought we could kind of discuss. And I'm hoping that if you're listening to this, maybe one of these is going to be like, oh, wow. And that'll be the little thing that you just keep coming back to. When you listen to something or whatever and you walk away and it's like, oh, that one idea. It's just wiggled its way into your brain and it's just like particularly comforting for some reason. So I'm hoping one of these is that for you if you're listening. So number one, it's okay to have a boring job. It's okay to have a boring job.
So true.
For now or for forever, either or, but it's okay to have a boring job.
Interview Academy might be the perfect thing you're looking for. Interview Academy is a course Sarah has been working on after delivering hundreds of interview coaching sessions and getting incredible results.
But unfortunately, I'm only one gal living in an Aussie time zone who works a day job, and all of that mean I can't help everyone one-on-one, which drove me crazy.
So for over a year, Sarah's been working on turning all of those amazing lessons into an on-demand, step-by-step interview prep course. We hold your hand through the entire thing,
and you can do it at home in your own time and get instant access right now. Check it out at interviewboss.com.au/interview-academy. The link is in the show notes.
Heaps of cool people have boring jobs. Can I present you Chandler Bing? From Friends.
And I only mean...
No one knows what he does.
I only mean boring in your own personal definition of what's boring for you. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying there are such things as a boring job. I just mean if you aren't excited and you find your own job boring, it's okay to have one of those. It's okay to stay there.
So true.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, you don't have to have a cool job and people are like, oh, what are you doing for work? Oh, I just do blah, blah, blah. It's okay to have a just job.
Of course. And the same goes for this pressure of fitting into a defined box of success where it has to be climbing corporate ladders and achieving and getting certificates and getting the next thing. Sometimes success can be flipped and your goal for that job is to learn or to have job stability. You can reframe it as, how does this job need to serve me for this point in time? Is it a means to just get my weekly wage so that I can live the life that I want and rent in the town and city that I want? Is it because it's really entry level and it's low pay, but I'm here to soak up everything I can and then get out of here. Like, you can pick your own definition of success.
To work with some nice people for once or something, or to work in an area where you have a little bit of meaning. Like, that could be your definition of success. We have some episodes about, I think it's called Know Thyself, and like why you should try and understand yourself in the job search, because all of this is going to come down to you personally and what's important to you. But I think it's hard, particularly when you're talking to friends and family. I always find that, like, when you haven't seen someone in a while and they're like, oh, what's new? And you like, oh, I've got a new job. Oh, cool. What's the job? And I can see how people would feel like, oh, well, I'm just like, oh, it's, not as good as what I was doing before, but, oh, well, and they'll feel that pressure of like, how do I make it sound better than it is? And it's okay to be like, oh, I'm so glad to have a bit of breathing room. I'm so glad to not have to take work home at the end of the day. Great. That can be your definition of success. It doesn't have to be for forever. It could be, but it could be for right now. It could be part of your journey that you need to do that in order to have more time to focus on something else. And maybe you do want to keep working on your CV. Maybe you take a temp job so that you've got some time to start interviewing and start thinking about different career paths that you want to go down.
Yes. And also letting go of the perfect job myth, because newsflash, if you didn't know, there's no such thing as a perfect job. There can be jobs that you really, really enjoy, or that you've always wanted to do, or that, give you a great sense of security and lifestyle affordability because of the pay. But no job is perfect. Every job has downfalls, has annoying people in them that you probably clash with, has company politics. Like, there is no such thing as a perfect job. So if you're someone who's bashing yourself over having a just or an average job, remind yourself that other job that I'm dreaming about could be full of assholes.
Yes, that's right. And it also relates to our taking the dream job off the pedestal episode, which so many people love. So maybe go and listen to that as well if you're, idolizing these jobs that you're applying for. Every time I hear the phrase dream job, I always think of that like quote or meme. There's so many different ones where it's like, I don't have a dream job. I don't dream of labor. And it's just like,
that's great.
It's just so funny. Like, yeah, that's true. It is still a job, isn't it? Like, it's still work. It's still for money.
I'm going to go AWOL here. This isn't on our dot pointed sheet that we're reading off, but just remember we're just floating on a big rock and it's not that serious.
Yeah, we're just specks of dust on a rock.
Sometimes that's good perspective for me. I'm like, you know what? Never really was. That's serious.
Yes. Go and stand in front of a large body of water. I find that makes you feel small.
Don't jump in it though. Just watch it.
No, just stand in front of it. Just look at it, like.
Just take it in. Or you could go for a swim. That's good for the vagus nerve system. Go have a nice bath.
That's a whole different thing. Recently, I think I mentioned I was in Canada and I did the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. Holy moly, will that make you feel small. That thing is just the amount of water. Oh my goodness. We are just a floating speck of dust in the universe.
When I was watching your videos of that, I was a bit nervous because it took me a minute to realise that the part that you go on the boat isn't at the top of the waterfall. It's like, that's fucking dangerous. Sure, how does that work?
How do you not fall
And I
off
was like,
the
oh,
edge?
they go at the bottom. Much safer idea.
Much safer. Oh, that's great.
I don't want to see that risk assessment
That's
paperwork.
so funny. Okay. We're celebrating the small wins of the job that you land or the job that you have at the moment, or, the changes that you're making. Maybe it's that you have gotten more interviews lately, that you've mixed up your CV and you've found a new template. Maybe it's that you have an idea of where you want to go with your career. Maybe it's that you did a better interview last time than what you thought you would. Like, these are the small wins in the process. We're decentering this focus on like the job as being the be all end all.
Hypothetically, if I started hating my job tomorrow, things I would tell myself are my early starts enable me to be finished at lunchtime and I get daylight hours when other people are trapped in a 9 to 5 for their whole day. So I have the means to work on my own projects and things in daytime hours with other people who are available. So that is a perk. Even if I'm not loving it, selfishly, I can use that as this is my means for now to get further to where I want to be.
Yeah. I think it's almost like linked to gratitude, right? If you're feeling like, oh, it's not working for this and I'm missing out on this and I wish I was doing that, come back to what are the good things keeping you in your job at the moment? And if there are none, well, then maybe you need to get out. I don't know. But there might be some things where you're going, yeah, but XYZ is still really good. And ultimately, I'm not going to change anything at the moment. Great. That's fine. You don't have to. Keep listening to our stuff if you want, or even just like stop listening for a little while. Like just go all in on what you're doing and come back to us later when you're ready to pick it all back up again.
Also, focus on your long-term happiness. Is this getting you to where you want to be long term? And although it might not be the best right now, you can see the long end goal.
Yeah, that's a good one for when you're learning. Like it can be a really awesome stepping stone role that you need to do in order to expand your skill set so that you can get to the job that you really want later. Totally. When we're talking about decentering, I realize we didn't even really define that, but I guess centering your job means putting it at the heart and soul of your whole life. Your whole everything is all about revolving around the job that you have. So to decenter the job, well, we need something else in the center. And you sometimes need to redefine your identity outside of work a little bit. Like when someone's like, hey, nice to meet you. Tell me something about you. Well, what's the other thing that you're going to say instead of your job?
So true. This is a big identity crisis that people who are approaching retirement age go through. All of a sudden, you need to fill your time with something. Otherwise, if you are sitting down all day, you're going to go crazy after having your work be your identity for so long. So I actually think it's a good habit to earlier on in your life desensitize a bit from, yes, work is a big part of what we do, but it's not who I am.
Yes, love it. Patience with the process. Caroline, again, gold medal when it comes to patience with the process. This may not be an overnight thing. You may not graduate from the Interview Boss world immediately. You may want to be hanging around here for a little while. It might not be just straightforward.
And hey, lucky we're good company. It's going to be an enjoyable little while.
It is. We're going to hold your hand. And like with Caroline, it'll be like every step. We've got an episode for that. There's an episode for that. Feeling like you can't cope with the rejection. There's an episode for that. Interview nerves. There's one for that. Oh, you've got a job offer now. There's one for that too. We're going to be with you. It's okay. It doesn't have to all happen overnight.
Not every job has to be a dream job. We talk about this a lot, but if you need to hear this again, we'll tell you. You don't have to go into every interview and say, well, it's always been my dream since I was a kid to work here. Hell no.
So true.
Sometimes it hasn't been my dream to work entering data for a software company, okay? That's not my dream, but here I am and it's so fine.
And like I kind of roll my eyes a little bit when people say that and I know it's BS because I just think you and I both know that neither of us dreamed of being here. Like don't lie to me. You don't need to say that. It's fine.
But also, yeah, some jobs are just this season of life job. For example, when I graduated uni, I was feeling so burnt out because it was during COVID. It was a really weird time. I lost my job heaps of times. And then I was studying all online. I didn't have the campus experience. I was working. Didn't have any money to pay rent. Very stressful times. And when it got to the end where job seeking was approaching, I was stressed out because there's so much pressure to find that job immediately. But I started saying that I was actually going to just take like a few months off and get a job like at a supermarket and just do night packing to just have a job for a means for some money and just chill the hell out. And as soon as I started, I never actually ended up doing it because a job offer ended up coming and it was one of those things where too bad there's not going to be even a day gap between your last day of uni and your new job. But alas, the second that I started reframing it and telling myself that it was okay to do that, I was so relaxed. All of a sudden, I was like, it's all good because I'm just going to work a supermarket job and I'm just going to have money and get my head right. And like it was freeing. I immediately felt the stress go because I was giving myself permission for the next job I got to not have to be the dream journalism job and just to be the ends to a mean job.
Yeah. The ends to a mean.
Means to an end job.
I used to think, I don't know if you were the same, Em, but I used to think when I first started my career, and I see this a lot in new grads that come through, and people say it's generational. Bullshit. Every new generation thinks the same thing. We're just not taught properly at uni. We don't know how jobs work. I thought that once you'd had that job title, that your next job was going to be a better job title, like that every time you move jobs, I've already done that one before. I'm going to be the next thing, like a couple of years, and then I'll be the next job title. Like I just thought that that's how it worked. I thought that's what everybody was doing. I never really paid much attention to people's actual career histories and their CVs and how long they spent doing stuff. But that's what I thought. I thought, I've already done that level, so I'll just go for the next level. And that's why it was always so confusing to me why jobs would say X amount of experience in this exact same job. Because I'm like, well, if I've already done that job, then why would I want that same job title? Like, why would I be applying for that? Like, who's even going to do that? Obviously, with experience, you realize that having done one job at that level once for however many years is not enough for you to be ready for the next promotion. So I've had a similar job title the last 2 or 3 jobs, but I've grown in experience, seniority, like different challenges, different environments. I think that it took me a little while after starting to realize that that was the case. So maybe you need to reflect on that stuff too. You don't always have to go up, up, up every single time. Sometimes you need to round out your experience before you can go up, because I kind of think about it as like if you're going up a ladder, but you haven't sorted out all the holes in the ground first before you're going to climb the ladder, it's like you might crash back down later on because you forgot to cover out all the rest of the things at that level that you haven't learned yet.
And remember, side steps are still progress. If you need to do a little pivot, a little sidestep, this isn't necessarily a step backward, it's something different and better in other ways, maybe worse in other ways, that's okay. We're still changing things up, and I'm sure that sidestep was necessary because of your circumstantial situation. You decided that for a logical reason because that's where you needed to go. So
there's something you're getting out of it.
Side steps are okay.
Absolutely. We're decentering our job. We're not making it the be all end all on I'm successful, I'm a waste of space, I'm not good enough, what were some of the things that Caroline said? Started to feel lucky to land a job, and then changing your behaviors and going, it's not working, like it's rejection, I'm never going to get back in, I'm just going to have to completely give up. None of these things that we're talking about are completely giving up at all. This is a moment in time. I can decenter this for right now. Try again later. Was it inspirational? Was it kind of depressing? I don't know.
Inspirational. No, I think it's helpful. It's a mindset reframe.
Reassuring. It's like a little handhold. It's not meant to be, empowering and like get up and go. It's like, it's okay.
It's okay. They're there. We're patting you with a broom on the back. They're there. Anyway, that's it. I've had enough of this episode.
Okay. So, thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you like hearing our advice, inspiration and support, follow us on Apple or Spotify, or better yet, send this episode or something that could help a friend in their situation to them so that you can recommend the show. They're going to listen to you more than they're going to listen to us, that they should listen to us. They trust you. That's how we can hit the charts. We can win some awards and help even more people. For more advice, some behind the scenes and some listener shout outs, check us out on Instagram at Interview Boss.
If we've been your job search besties and helped you in some way, there's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming.